So I posted a tweet the other day, fresh off the new roster window period, about how organizations that don't see a future with Call of Duty Esports should get out now. And now I want to talk about that because at the moment, not one single organization currently in the CWO Pro League has been willing to sell or has been willing to budge at all. Well, then why should the organizations think about selling? They have a right to the spot. They are the ones who qualified. They'll just sell it next year, right? Wrong. Let's just say for a moment, for those who don't follow other esports, who haven't watched the transition to franchising, necessarily don't understand what is necessary or what is required for a qualification spot next year. So do those organizations have a right to the spot? Of course they do, right? They are the ones who sent the team. They have the rights to the spot. According to the CWL handbook, it is rightfully theirs. But let's keep in mind a few things regarding next season. You don't keep your spot, right? You don't get your spot moving in to next season. In a franchise model, all spots will be bought out by organizations long term. The same way the Chicago Bulls own a franchise in the NBA, the same way the Boston Red Sox own a franchise spot in the MLB, those spots are locked in for years, and it's going to work the same way in esports, as well as Call of Duty and how it works currently in League of Legends and the way that it currently works in the Overwatch League. If the Boston Red Sox have a really bad year, that doesn't mean they lose their spot. It doesn't mean they go into a tournament to possibly lose their position. No, they're going to stay in the league long term. They've been in it for however long now, right? It's the same way that franchising in esports is going to work as well. So by having that safety and that guaranteed ability to be in a league of that magnitude, I'm sure the Bulls and the Boston Red Sox at the time had to spend quite a bit of cash in order to earn a spot or in order to purchase a spot, however many years ago that was. But like I said, the same works currently in esports, right? Those spots are valuable. Those spots give you a lot. You give opportunities for long-term sponsorship deals. You're with a company, obviously, that you feel comfortable in, as far as League of Legends is considered, Overwatch League, and now Call of Duty. They're backed by very, very big brands, and organizations regarding sponsorships obviously want to be involved with that. Now, rumors have flown in regards to the LCS and the Overwatch League. Those spots costing upwards of $10, $15, $20 million per. Now, along with the price, not everyone that you expect to be there sometimes is there. For those who followed Immortals in LCS, who followed them in League of Legends, they were regarded as one of the best teams in North America, had a great track record, and got denied. It came as a shock to the entire community as everyone thought that they were going to be a shoo-in. So along with the cost, you also have to take in consideration who you're facing off against in these positions. Depending on how many spots there are, everyone in the Overwatch League gets first choice for the Call of Duty World League next year. So you have 20 teams who are selecting spots before you. And we don't know how many spots there's going to be for Call of Duty next year. I'm sure that will be rumored among the following months ahead. Will it be 12? Will it be 16? Could it be 20? Probably not 20. I'm kind of in between 12 and 16 right now, depending on how they want to format things. But regardless, though, 20 teams in the Overwatch League right now will have an opportunity to get those spots before you. And those, major organizations involve esports teams like Optic Gaming, Envy, Genji, Cloud9, NRG, Misfits, Splice, Sentinels, Immortals, etc. Teams like that are going to be fighting for those spots. And not even talking about Overwatch League teams, we've also got rosters and organizations like TSM, FaZe, CLG, Team Liquid, and more who might want in as well. So you're facing off not against the 20 Overwatch League rosters who already are composed of esports organizations that are very well known. You're also facing off against the organizations who maybe are in the LCS, are in the LCS, but maybe not the Overwatch League, or vice versa. You're facing off against a lot of people who might be in one, or might be even in both. So along with that, you also have what is called the application process, which pretty much is your claim that you can handle taking care of an organization, that you can handle the sponsorships, that you're good to hire certain people in certain roles. Essentially, it is your application, how you would try to fight for a job or how you'd put an application to get a job. And how do you do that? Usually by putting things that are impressive in your resume. So if you don't have anything in your resume, if you have maybe not a good track record with a company, is that company probably going to take a risk on you that you haven't really worked maybe a whole lot in that field in the past? Probably not. So based on what I've been hearing behind the scenes, there are some young teams in the CWL regarding their track record, and it doesn't look good, right? That they don't necessarily want to sell their spots. And so if my thing is, why would Activision consider you in the first place if you couldn't handle a team before franchising. If you can't handle a team right now, your roster's all over the place. There's been a lot of talk behind the scenes about how teams like EXG and Midnight are trying to swap rosters, are trying to go back and forth, add players in. Obviously, those things aren't necessarily warranted by the CWL. They're not going to be happy about that. So if your track record goes to show that you've been in the league before franchising the year before, and you can't handle your team, you can't handle your organization, you can't handle players, then why would they consider you for an even bigger position with millions of dollars on the line, especially when you're facing off against people who you could argue are way more capable than you are? So all those things considered, you need money, you need stable backing, you also need to have a solid track record to prove you can handle this, and you also might have to consider relocating, right? We have to throw that in there as well. The one thing that a lot of people usually don't think of is that normally Activision, in this instance, chooses the locations that they want, or at least they have an idea of locations that they want to be in their league. They want teams in major cities like Los Angeles, New York, Miami, or Orlando, Boston, etc. They want teams across the world as well. So we talk about teams in Europe, even teams, farther east in regards to, like China, Korea, maybe even if Australia was thrown in there from time to time. So most of these organizations are going to have to bid on a numbered amount of North American spots, unless they want to relocate, right? Unless you want to take all your operations over to China and try to make your way in that way. These spots aren't going to be cheap, considering that a lot of esports organizations are currently based in North America and don't plan on moving very far, if far at all. And finally, like I said, along with all of these things, and I keep talking about it, you're facing off against the biggest esports organizations in the entire world. Your spots are slimmed down already by the Overwatch League and could be hindered by the amount of other teams that will want in, because everybody wants in. Everyone at least wants to get an opportunity at possibly getting in. So like in my tweet, if it doesn't seem possible that you're making franchising next year, if you can pretty much take a reality check and look and say, are we good? Do we even have a chance? Do we have a solid chance to make it into franchising next year? Evaluate it, and if not, now is the time to get out. If you are looking to have this organization succeed for the future, you need money. From what I've heard at this point in the season, right now, organizations have offered as high as $250,000 for spots at the moment. Right, the bidding, I don't know how much higher it's going to go up over the season. I don't think it is at all, right? Because we talk about, you have Fort Worth coming up, then you have cross-divisional play. I highly doubt that price of $250,000 is going to skyrocket after those events are over. If anything, it's going to slim down over time. So that price is going to get lower. Organizations' interest in getting in this year is starting to get lower. So this, to me, is the time. Right? You've already gained the notoriety. You've maybe gained the social presence from being in the CWL. That's not going to raise much higher if you don't see your team winning championships. If you're going to be involved in the top 6, the top 8, maybe even the top 12, if you're not even going to make the playoffs, if you're not going to be in the Champs Grand Final, what really is there to gain in regards to that number, right? Is it really worth it gaining a social media following a little bit more than having a price like that can distance other esports teams or under your brand or furthering your brand farther? I don't know. And this is me just looking out for the little guy, right? Looking out for the person who are in these positions, because I feel like there's a real opportunity to get out and make something off of this. So that's just the way that I look at it. For me, and for once, I'm saying get out while you could still make a profit. Never have I ever said that, but at this moment with franchising on the horizon, it's not going to be easy. Franchising is no joke. It's time to get our head out of the clouds.